So if you're a Nintendo Switch owner, last night was a big night of information when it comes to Nintendo's online service. It was announced at the launch of the Nintendo Switch about this upcoming paid online service, but we never really got any details about it. It was supposed to come out in fall 2017. Fall 2017 came and went, and it was delayed. It was supposed to come out in the spring, delayed once again, but now it has a concrete release date of September 2018, and many have been wondering what this service will entail. Last night we found out the first details about the system. I actually did a full video on it. If you want to know all the nitty-gritty details, including my thoughts on the online service, be sure to click the card on the top of the screen right now and check out that video. But if you just want the gist of it, basically for $20 a year you will have access to Nintendo's online service. This online service includes cloud saves, which is very, very important because if something happens to your Nintendo Switch, you break it, whatever, all of your saves were tied into the system itself. Now with the cloud save system, you do not have to worry about that. You can easily access your saves from your Nintendo Switch, or if you need another Nintendo Switch, from that as well. Of course, there will be online games included in there as well that you play, the games online, and voice chat. It does look like voice chat is still attached to a Nintendo Switch voice chat app. Now, whether that expands from just the cell phone to a device on the Nintendo Switch, an application on the Nintendo Switch, they haven't really said. I'm hoping they put it on the Nintendo Switch natively because it can run it, so there would really be no point to use the cell phone, but I will wait a little bit for more information before I absolutely rip that apart if I have to use my phone to talk to people online. But one of the big surprises was, of course, the NES games. They announced that 20 NES games will be available with the Nintendo Switch online subscription service when it launches in September 2018, and they detailed 10 of those games. 10 of those games being tennis, soccer, Donkey Kong, Dr. Mario, Super Mario Bros. 3, The Legend of Zelda, and a few others. But what's interesting about these NES games is that you'll be able to play these games with online capabilities. So if you want to play Dr. Mario online with a friend, you can do that. You can play The Legend of Zelda where it's like you're passing the controller to another friend and they take over and maybe do a segment for the game for you. Really interesting and innovative stuff there. But one thing that was not discussed in that was the Virtual Console, and a lot of people have been waiting for information on the Virtual Console since the launch of the system. The fact that this is a portable system as well, the thoughts of having a bunch of different old NES and N64 and Super Nintendo GameCube games on the go was really appealing. But today Nintendo said something really weird and something really puzzling that has a lot of people very confused, honestly. Nintendo said that there are no plans for a Virtual Console service for the Nintendo Switch. What? What? Are you out of your mind? It makes perfect sense to put the Virtual Console on the Nintendo Switch now that we have cloud saves and things like that. So really there's two different ways that you can look at this statement, and we're going to look at both of these different ways in this video. So sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about if Nintendo is making a big mistake with not having a Virtual Console service on the Nintendo Switch, or if there's more to it than that.
Hey, RGT 85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my God, it's Stevie Richards!
Alright, so like I said, there are two trains of thought with this announcement, and we're going to go over both of the trains of thoughts, and I'm going to share my thoughts on them. The first train of thought is there is no Virtual Console. There is not going to be a Virtual Console, and honestly, that would be a very hard pill to swallow. The Nintendo Switch has been absolutely a tremendous success so far, but a lot of people are picking up the Nintendo Switch with a love of retro games. When you look at the success of different retro games across the platform and retro-inspired games, Blaster Master Zero, Celeste, all of these games that are retro inspired, you know, Ultra Street Fighter 2, The Final Challenger, Super Bomberman R, all of these have roots in retro gaming, and a lot of people love retro gaming that picked up the Nintendo Switch. That's why when Sega announced the Mega Drive or the Genesis Classics Collection, everyone wanted it on the Nintendo Switch because you could play these games on the go. So to not have a Virtual Console service and to only utilize old school and retro games through their subscription service would be a big faux pas in my opinion, but there's two different ways that you can look at that within itself. Now of course they're going to be adding more games to the NES's Virtual Console, or the NES subscription service I guess you would call it, with a total of 20 games at launch, but there's also been said that there will be Super Nintendo games available as well. So if they do sort of like a Netflix subscription service with this where you get different games every month and you rent these games, I think that's pretty cool, honestly. I would like the addition to be able to buy these games as well though. If you're downloading these games, why can't you just buy them as well? But you also have to look at at a different side of the coin, and that would be the eShop itself. Now, a lot of retro games are available on the Nintendo Switch eShop, and looking at the success of these games pretty much puts a point that there should be a virtual console on the system. What's one of the highest selling eShop games consistently week after week after week? Super Mario Brothers Versus. Like, everyone wants old school and retro games on their Nintendo Switch, so it seems really strange. But you do have the full Neo Geo library available on there as well. Not the full library, but you know what I'm saying. There's a ton of Neo Geo games on there that you can purchase. So maybe they're hoping that other companies will come in and put their retro games on the platform. Games like Konami, or companies like Konami, Sega. I don't know, it just seems so convoluted to do it that way though, because it'll be all through the Nintendo Switch eShop instead of a dedicated virtual console channel where you could just look at virtual console games. So to not have a virtual console completely would be a huge misstep for the Nintendo Switch. It's not going to completely doom the thing, but I think it will put a damper on things as well. To only be able to access these games through the digital shop is just a big misstep in my opinion, because some people won't want to get this subscription service. Some people will just want to be able to have the opportunity to simply buy these games, and honestly, you would make more money that way. Think about it like this: if you're offering 20 games at launch for the NES on the Nintendo Switch's subscription service, or you sell a copy of Super Mario Brothers on the NES for $5 to $10, which is going to earn you more money? I think selling the individual copy for $5 as opposed to a $20 a year thing is much more lucrative in terms of money. So it's a really weird thing. If they completely forego the Nintendo Switch's virtual console, it could be very damning. It won't break the system, it won't bring the system to its knees, but I think it would be a big problem. Now, there's another train of thought that a lot of people are having with this as well, and it's definitely something worth discussing, because I feel like to completely abandon retro games on the Nintendo Switch is very, very short-sighted. It could just be, and this is not an apologist, this is not, someone defending a white knight or whatever, this is just another train of thought that a lot of people are having, and I think it has value. It could just be that they're abandoning the virtual console name itself, because let's face it, the virtual console name has a certain connotation to it. You have the virtual console on the Wii, you have the virtual console on the 3DS, and you had the virtual console on the Wii U. The virtual console on the Wii was absolutely amazing. You had a great variety of games, TurboGrafx games, you had arcade games, Master System games, Genesis, NES, N64, tons of great games. The Wii U's virtual console was not all that great, and yes, you could play the games through the Wii's virtual console on the Wii U, but it was not optimized for the Wii U, so it wasn't as good in my opinion. And then when you look at the 3DS virtual console, of course there's a lot of Super Nintendo games, Game Gear games, all sorts of fun stuff, but each individual virtual console was its own little separate entity. So if you bought something on the Wii, you couldn't necessarily just get it for free on the Wii U, you sort of had to upgrade it. If you bought something on the Wii U that was also available on the 3DS, there was no cross communication with that. Each individual virtual console was its own virtual console. What if they're doing away with the name virtual console to have a new service that spans across all the platforms in the future? And that would be very important. I think that makes more sense, because honestly, it just doesn't make sense to completely abandon the virtual console. It doesn't make sense to abandon all of these retro games when you have such a crazy library of games at your fingertips when it comes to the NES, the N64, the Super Nintendo, all the classic Nintendo systems, all the classic Sega systems. You have so many games to choose from, yet you're choosing to put none on there unless they get through the subscription service. So I am hopeful, and I am hopeful that Nintendo is wise enough to realize this, that a simple rebrand, a getting rid of the virtual console name, but still implementing a virtual console-like service makes the most sense to me. I don't care what it's called, call it the Nintendo Retro Shop or something, and just have a great variety of games that some people can pick up and buy, because some people don't want to just digitally get these games. Obviously, these games are just sort of going to be rentals. I'm sure once the subscription service ends, or you choose not to renew it, you lose access to those games. Some people will just want to simply buy the games, and to completely abandon the virtual console is very nearsighted. So I'm definitely hopeful that it's just a simple rebranding. So that's definitely the two different trains of thoughts with this, and I think they're both very interesting. I think they both have credence to them, and I think they both, make sense in some degree. That is, maybe they just want to push this subscription service. Maybe they just threw that out there to sort of throw people off. Obviously, Nintendo has said things before and then gone in the completely opposite direction. So you never truly know, but you have to take things at face value. And taking this at face value that there will be no virtual console on the Nintendo Switch just doesn't make sense to me. So hopefully there's something coming, because I would love to see some classic games on the Nintendo Switch. I'd love to be able to take them on the go with me. I'd love to be able to use cloud saves with them. See, there's so many reasons to do this, Nintendo. Please don't drop the ball with this. But those are my thoughts on this whole virtual console situation. Let me know what side of the camp you're on. Do you think that it's a simple rebranding of what the virtual console was, or is Nintendo just being dumb and really pushing their subscription service and completely forgetting about all those that don't necessarily want the subscription service or that want a standard virtual console like service? And thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. There are daily videos on this channel. We do all sorts of fun stuff here. PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, retro games, Sega stuff. Who knows what I'll do next? You never truly know what RGT85 is going to do next. Thank you guys for checking out this video. If you really enjoyed it, check out all the links in the description box down below. We got Patreon, t-shirts, social media, all sorts of ways to keep up to date with the ever-growing world of RGT85. We are coming up on 100,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. Thank you guys so much. I love all of you, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.
RGT 85. RGT 85. RGT 85.